anniversary. So that was the last day we had classes. So they did a whole little shindig for the anniversary. It was pretty cool.
For a 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. 1 year in Meadville.
So they set it all up behind your back?
Yes, behind my back. Had no idea.
How about that?
That was sweet.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Does it make you trust them more or less?
Oh, well. I knew their hearts are in the right place. So they were like really nice in telling me how much they appreciate. And I know we said it before, how do you motivate a motivator? Tell them how much you motivate them.
Yeah.
Like that resonated with me, bro.
Well, that'll fill you up.
Yeah, that was it. I was like, all right, watch. I'm going to blow this thing up now because you guys are all on board. Like, you're in the car. Mm-hmm. You're in the car with me. We rolling. This is it. 1
year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible. It doesn't feel like that.
Yeah. Just started with a woman's self-defense class, and now I got, about 30 students. Mm-hmm. I got about 10 Crawford kids up there. And I do a cardio kickboxing and just keep it moving, man.
That is really fun.
Yeah, it's strong.
So you and since then, I mean, they've expanded and all types of things up there, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we started with maybe about 4 or 5 people.
Yeah,
and then we started to out the little space that we had. We outgrew it probably in like the first 4 months. It's like, look, I need to get something else. So he created an open gym area, and then my rent went up and stuff like that. But it was all good.
No, that's great.
Good. See the little transition.
Right.
So here we are, another freaking episode.
Yeah, another episode. Ron Jordan.
Aaron Diaz.
And coming at you on another episode of Stars Podcast.
Here we are.
And so yesterday you had a Taekwondo tournament.
Yes. Yep. Had a Taekwondo tournament. First time up in my 2nd degree black belt ring. And that was a little intense. It was it's nice that the competition's getting stiffer, which is great because I'm a competitive guy. A lot of guys I haven't seen. So it was real nice to see a ring of real competitive people that are just as motivated as you are.
Right. And this was a smaller tournament, but even being a smaller regional tournament, there was a lot of people in your ring.
Yeah, yeah. So they do combine the 2nd degree and 3rd degree black belts. So you got guys that have been doing it maybe 2 or 3 years longer than you have. So with that comes experience, and they've got more rings under their belts. They got more tournaments, more medals. There was a guy that had just last year, he was the 2-time world champion, so he was in that ring.
Dang.
And but yeah, no, it's strong.
There were a lot of world champion tags.
Yeah,
in that ring.
They were just throwing him around like it was nothing. I was like, what am I?
Yeah, my dad was he was at the tournament yesterday because my girl had her tournament, same everything.
Right.
And he was asking me, he's like, what does world champ mean? I was like, well, let me tell you. So you see all of these people, think about the entire world.
Yes.
Competing all year long. And then the best of all of those people get together and compete against one another.
Right.
Right. Like you
From
see
all
how
the regions, all the states.
how competitive it is here.
Mm-hmm.
Just in that venue, and then just multiply that. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, he didn't really understand kind of that it was that substantial of an organization,
Right.
Where there are so many people involved, and there are a lot of competitive guys out there doing it.
I want to go out on a limb and say it's the largest martial arts organization.
Yeah.
I want to say in the world. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the ATA, right? And this is not to diminish any other martial arts or anything. It's just they have it,
right?
Like it's a corporation. Like it's a big business. It's large.
But it's neat how they also have just the tournaments everywhere.
Yeah.
And the popularity of it, and you wonder from a grassroots perspective, because that's what I'm always interested in.
Yeah.
From a grassroots perspective, what that took at the beginning to get your first tournament?
So there's like stories out there on how these guys even started. So the Lee brothers came over from Korea and created Sungam Taekwondo. It's kind of like what Bruce Lee did with Wing Chun and some of the Chinese martial arts. And he says, you know what, I can make this system better. This is something that they diminish here. I'm gonna excel here. And that's pretty much what they did. So they made Taekwondo, because there's traditional Taekwondo, and there's Olympic Taekwondo, and it's different. So the Sungam Taekwondo, he like broke it down almost to its bare bones and just made it a system. Not too different than how we doing with Valor Combat Academy. So they had an original 3 guys, and they were down in Middle America somewhere, and they said, hey, it's time to start spreading this thing. And so they said, hey, you go to Florida, you go to Vegas, and they just sent people out like missionaries for ATA. And that's how it started to grow. It's crazy.
Smart, though.
Yeah.
You go where there's a potential market. You saturate the big cities as much as you can.
Yeah.
It's a smart way to go to market.
Yeah.
I always get interested in things that get so big. That they didn't start that big.
No.
And how things gain that momentum, and sometimes that momentum kind of propels you in an exponential way after so long.
Yeah.
It might take you 10 years to get your first 100 tournaments, but after you do your first 100 tournaments, like the next 10 years, you could do 100,000 tournaments.
Yeah.
It's just that
that
learning process. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I like the Valor Combat Academy program, the Krav and the firearms. We started out doing it in 1 spot. Now we're going to be doing it in 3 spots. And next thing is going to be the region. And next thing, we're just going to start sprouting out everywhere.
Right.
And it's kind of funny because me and Chris, we had an active shooter seminar on Friday. So which all encompasses the Valor PDS.
Right.
And it's just, it's crazy that we were even like out there doing this. It's like, man, just 2 years ago, this was just, it was 2.5 years ago. It was just a dream. We were just sitting there. It was all a dream.
So here's the big question though: is how do you keep that momentum?
You just keep going after it, man. You just keep we call it scratching the scab. You just keep scratching the scab. It's gonna bleed. It's gonna bleed more, and then it's gonna scar.
I get that part of it, but it's like, it's exhausting.
It is
doing all of it. So how do you maintain the momentum? How do you maintain, your health to take it to that level? How do you maintain, the relationships, all of that stuff? Like there's so many moving parts to continue something down the road.
Yes.
That is exhausting.
Yes.
And and we always talk about it, and it's so cliche, but the big goal has to be so impactful that all of it matters.
Yes. So the cool thing, and how we just had this conversation, we have started to make this, and I think anybody, if you're trying to do business wise, it's a relationship building. We've talked about this before, and having the people like having our students understand and regurgitate back what we just given them, that's a check in the box. It was like, oh man, so I got to do more. I got to push them harder. I got to do better for me. I got to be more creative. So when it comes down to, all right, this is working, let's move on. What's our next goal? Like you were saying, have little short-term goals. I'm brushing my teeth today. I'm making my bed today. It's the same thing. All right, so you know what? By December, I want to get 10 more students. How can I do that? How does that look? What can I do differently?
Yeah.
You know?
So to stop you there, to break it down further, whenever you come up with that type of goal, what you said next was very important. Is like, you didn't just sit back and be like, man, I want 10 new students by December. Let's wait. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
No, you systematically break it down and say, okay, what's been working? Can can I push that more without saturating that way, right?
Yeah.
You come up with creative ways after that. Things that you haven't done.
Right.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
And then you figure out what works from that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we maintain ourselves, our curriculum, our mindset. We look what's new. We look at the type of people, the population that we're dealing with. What can they do? Where they falter? Just so many things. So like even just coming up with this podcast and how we were just talking about, hey, we just want to motivate people to continue on to be good humans.
Right.
Then how does that look? Let's just do it and see. So we read books. I watch videos. I try to create I'm a student of mindset, so I want to continue that process. Like, you just keep trying to like educate yourself, be a sponge. But you also have to know humility too. Just because I'm top dog in my realm,
right?
I'm not the end all be all to anything,
Yeah, the humility that's a very important part.
Yeah.
In terms of, in my opinion, in terms of longevity, because once you think you're the best and you stop growing and stop experiencing those new experiences and trying to embrace other ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super difficult to listen to somebody for a long period of time because they're not giving anything new at that point. Like, I heard you 5 years ago. You're saying the same thing now.
Right.
It's like going to see a comedian that's doing the same bit from 1990.
Perfect example.
Not gonna resonate.
Yeah.
Anymore.
George Bush, I tell you, he was a great president. Like,
crickets. Like, come on, dude.
How many people in
We're
the
like
audience
4
didn't even
elections
know?
from then. Yeah. Yeah, I think, and the reason why I ask you the questions is because I know your answer to it, but I think it's important for other folks to listen to somebody who is setting goals and breaking it down into ways that maybe not necessarily everybody does it that way, and they have their own way, but they can kind of wrap their head around, maybe I'm trying to do the same thing, expecting different results. Even though that they're working,
right,
but they're not working to the level I want them to. Well, now I need to venture out into a new realm.
Yes, and or even around new people. So I'm starting, and this is a crazy time for people. I'm assuming and I'm only assuming the holiday seasons. Maybe this is the first time without the loved one, or maybe they're just going through a divorce, or maybe they had a death in the family, and you kind of get engulfed. It's almost like just a darkness coming over.
Holidays are tough for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've been in where I was probably downtrodden before, but I've never been one to like lay down and just continue to get kicked.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see that a lot. Now, I don't want to be insensitive to them going through that, but like I just want to like shake them up.
You don't
like,
quite understand it.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I've had trouble understanding like deep depression.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of difficulty understanding it because of kind of my mindset. But when I think about some of
there is a mental health aspect to it.
But I think it's some of the seasons that I've been through in my life, like were any of those deep depressive seasons. Like was I ever in a situation where like I just couldn't get out of bed? No. Yeah. Like some people just can't even get out of bed. And things like that. It's I don't get it. But I've talked to people who have been.
I'm right there with you. Like
very
I can't fathom
deep and depressed.
Go ahead.
And they've like that darkness is real.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think for some people it's an excuse. I think for some people it's very, very real.
Right.
And debilitating. And I don't know how to assist those people to get to a level where I'm like, okay, now I can take you on because you're out of that deep dark area. Because I've never been there and experienced it myself.
Right.
So I think most of the time, in my opinion, I think you have to be somewhere, at least touch it before you can help somebody in that certain situation. To be very deep and impactful. You know what I mean? For it to resonate at that level. I don't know.
Well, I think you have to look like it's always harder. Somebody always has it harder. Like last week you were talking about your arm. I'm like, man, I'm aching. And then you look over and you see a guy with no arm.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like you think
Talk
you
about
have
a sign.
problems, right?
Yeah.
You know? And I think people just have to understand, like, maybe my problems are just not as bad as I think.
Mm-hmm.
And like I need to get off my ass pretty much and say, hey, look, you know what? Tighten your bootstraps up.
How
Let's
easy
go.
do we make it though, just to stay home? I mean, with this, you can stay home.
But this is what else kills me. They put it on here and then they put it out to the social media world and talking about, oh, I got kicked in the dick again, or here, there's my teeth, you know, all over the ground. And then people are like, oh, hang in there. But really, are you really rooting for that person?
Yeah.
Is that a cry for help? Like, do you just like pick up the, not just text them, you know, pick up the phone, be like, hey, you know, really, what's up with you? Like, do you really want to get some stuff off your chest right now? Like, let's go.
I did that with my buddy.
Did you?
I did. I texted him. I didn't call him. I texted him because he was posting things that were just disturbing me.
Yeah.
To the point that I was like, I gotta reach out to him.
And you know him enough where you're like, this is not him.
So when I went up to meet with him and his family, he shared some things with me that I'm like, okay, makes sense.
Got it.
Totally makes sense.
Did he feel better?
I don't know. I don't know if he felt better, but I was talking to his wife after the fact, and I said, you know, he told me this, that, and the other, and she goes, wow, I'm surprised he told you that.
Yeah.
So
he needed to.
He needed to.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's any better for it. I don't know. But I did reach out to him because I said, this is just uncharacteristic of him to be saying things like this. And it was all like this, not poor me, but angry.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was a lot of anger in his posts. Like you could feel it.
Like seriously,
I don't like that.
I think that's like,
he's not that, you know, he's not the type of guy.
Sometimes that social media is a cry for help. I honestly think so, you know, because we don't have that, see each other every day and have that communication of like, hey, you know your neighbor down the street and you know if something's wrong with them, you know, like but gosh, I just hate I knew it was going to happen. It was bound to happen. Life's going too good right now. You know, what?
Yeah.
Life's going too good right now? Like, where does that come from? So now it's going good. You're waiting for the bottom to drop out. No. Just keep going, riding life. Enjoy the times that's good. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, if it starts to creak a little bit, you start to get a little crack in the world, all right, I'll patch it up and keep moving. Like everybody's gone through something.
Yeah, it's
something
the end
worse.
of the world mentality type stuff.
It's all or nothing mentality.
Both sides.
Yeah,
it's all bad or it's all good.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah,
living in extremes.
Ooh.
You know, living in those extremes. That's a wicked way to live.
Seriously.
You know, because you get so, just like we were talking about earlier with Michael Phelps, and the next day after you win a world, or you win in the Olympics, so you win everything that you compete in, and then you wake up tomorrow, and there's probably interviews scheduled and things like that, but you're not in that high anymore.
Yeah.
You know, now you're coming down off that. So it's a difficult place to live, both sides.
Yeah, it was funny because I was listening to Mike Tyson talk, and he says, you know what was my problem? He says, I never stood ready to fight. I never stood in that shape. I was either all in, you know, 2 months before the fight, or nah, I'm gonna party, I'm gonna eat whatever I want, I'm gonna do that, and I don't know. That's tough. That's tough to be. And these guys were at the top of the game, man. Michael Phelps, top of the game.
But you almost wondered too, whenever Mike Tyson parties, could you imagine how hard he goes in the paint?
Hard.
Because how hard he goes in the paint training. He's putting that effort into partying.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Oh,
man had a tiger and stuff. like balling out of control.
He said, "Oh man, I had so many diseases. I don't even know what it is." I said, "Oh goodness,
So dirty.
yeah, dirty,
So dirty.
You know, how is that thing still attached to you anymore? Like it's just, but that was his mindset.
Yeah.
And hey,
But again, the longevity of him. I mean, he lasted a while.
yeah,
But if he would have took care of himself, how much longer could he have lasted?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder that with a lot of athletes in general. So I understand a little bit more now, getting older
Yeah.
and feeling the aches and pains of getting older.
yeah,
Like I'm still young by all accounts, but as you get older, just I'd say after 30, things just get different.
yeah,
So now understanding that, like before when a quarterback would go down or something, he has like this knee injury or elbow tightness or something, and you're like, hey, you big baby, get back in there.
yeah,
But it's like, oh man, it hurts now. But protecting them, talking about longevity again.
Yeah.
So investing in that offensive line is really the way to protect your star quarterback,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so, like, what do we do in our daily lives to invest in our offensive line?
Hey,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah. If it's multivitamins, eating healthy,
Yeah.
yeah.
Getting enough sleep.
yeah. Well, I don't know what that is.
All types of things. But what I'm saying is, like,
Yeah.
that's kind of like my shtick right now is investing in my offensive line. You know, because I'm the quarterback of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm running the show.
Right.
So what am I doing to protect myself
Yeah.
to make sure that all of my goals can be accomplished?
Because this is the thing. Just like a quarterback, you got people relying on you, man. Like you gotta be upright. You gotta be
Right.
doing things. You gotta be motivating even to them.
Yeah,
You know,
can't be-
like you're that. You're the captain of the team. You're
Right.
steering that ship. Like what does that mean to you? Some of these people that I'm seeing on here, and they're so talking about how it's down, I'm down and out. I'm down for the count. Blah blah blah. Bro, you got kids. You can't be down for the count anymore. You got people relying on you. Even in the ones that don't have kids, you got a house. You got animals. You got pets that are relying on you.
Yeah.
You know, this is what you have to understand. Like, it's not all about you, my man.
But it has to be before you can take care of anybody else.
Yeah.
It has to be.
But what's the motivating factor? If it's just me that I'm dealing with, like, who loves me, who doesn't love me? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? There has to be something else to. Now, really, I'm grasping at straws. I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to understand this mindset of people. And, you know, to go back to the point about the athlete, there's soldiers that I've seen, you know, as we're coming up on Veterans Day, you know, shout out to all the veterans out there. You know, thank you for your service. But these guys, I've talked to people that are kicking in doors day in, day out. They're doing 4 or 5 days in, 1 day off, you know, and what are they doing on a day off? You know, they're probably just relaxing, sleeping, drinking, partying, whatever they could, so they can go back out and keep that same thing. That's another level of I'm the Olympiad, I'm the world champion guy. I'm that guy kicking indoors, making sure people on my left and right are up and running. You know what I mean? Like, and then when they get pulled back and they come back home, even just to go right back to work after 2 weeks, a month, like they don't have that no more.
Right.
Hey, I'm not kicking indoors no more. I'm not king dog anymore.
You're just sitting at a desk now.
Sitting at a
Or
desk
something.
now.
Yeah. Just kind of the opposite end of the
Right.
spectrum. So do
Yeah.
you think that would put somebody in that depressive state?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Because that
So
side of the coin,
how
I've
do you
seen
match that though? How do you match that level of intensity? Like, is it okay? Is it okay to match that level of intensity for your whole life?
I don't see. So
You know?
you got to think. All right,
Like, how do you keep that person engaged?
you have to give them something else.
Right, but how do you match that?
Yeah.
How do you match that reward system?
I think personally, like going into a gym, either lifting the heck out of some weights, going into CrossFit, joining competitions, creating another sense of brotherhood. There's something in the military called esprit de corps. There's a esprit de corps, right? And
I like that.
You have to get other people surrounded by you, around you, to keep that fire along. So, like, I could talk about my group up in Meadville. They all got different ends of the spectrum. They got, they probably got crappy jobs. They got crappy bosses. They got crappy lovers. They've been sexually abused. They have diseases. They're ailing in their health, just anything. But they all got one freaking thing in common. They all come to Krav and they hit hard.
Yeah.
So I'm creating that Krav community to do that. That person has to have that as well. They can't come back to just Sally that's not doing anything, or she's all pissed off because you never home. You don't know who your kids are. You can't. You gotta get out. You gotta get that bond again, and that's where you keep the adrenaline going. You start hitting those new goals. You got to create a new normal, and just say, hey, look, I need to surround myself around people that think just like me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would just, it's something that I've been thinking about is the longevity piece of our conversations. We talk about the goal setting and short-term goals, and then I was thinking, well, what if somebody listens to that and they don't make any long-term goals? Because like the short-term goals are just to prep you for that long-term goal that you're kind of scared of.
Yeah.
And I was listening to an NPR podcast this week, and it was how certain stories catch over others. And how, like, you may not have heard the same story as I have, and the only reason why is because you haven't been around somebody that was infected with that story.
Yeah.
So like with any infection,
right?
If the infection is,
and that can be positive or negative,
right? So the infection, if it spreads faster than you can handle it, then that will spread. But if you can keep medicine on it and not let it spread, then that story's not going to catch.
Right.
And you wonder, why do these negative stories in the headlines and things like that catch the attention more so than, a lot of positive stories?
Yeah.
You listen to positive stories and it makes you feel good. This is just my experience and my recollection of things. But the story that tugs at you in like your anger or it makes you feel bad,
it brings out an emotion in you.
I feel like we talk about those more than we talk about things that are positive. And
Absolutely.
I want to be on the positive side more so than talking about that negative side.
Yeah.
Because I want to spread an infectious message that way.
A positivity. Right?
I don't want to spread the infectious message of that negativity. Like, you can make up a lot of excuses and things like that just for anything.
Yeah.
So how do we create a long-term vision and message and movement, but keep that same intensity for years and years and years and years and generations to generations? It's a big question, but
yeah. So like I said, and I don't know if your parents said this, or you are the company you keep. So if you got the doom and gloomers with you or on your social media feed, or and you want to click and like those type of things, you're going to keep continuing to see those things. Don't be with that group of, I'm going to say rebel rousers. I don't know where the hell that came from.
Yeah.
But like that group of misfits. Don't be that group of misfits. So one of the examples that I did in my life, so when I got out of the military, I didn't really have much of anything. So I surrounded myself by, it was 5 guys. They all had master's degrees.
Great.
I didn't have anything. So I was the guy bringing their average down. Yes, that was me, right? So One of them worked at Microsoft. One of them was a pharmaceutical salesman when Viagra was big. It was crazy. Another
Pardon the
one,
pun.
yeah, that was horrible. And then another one was the head. He was a head buyer for freaking Nordstrom's. You know, like these were like big.
Yeah,
Like, they were doing
They were big
okay for
corporate
themselves.
guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were doing okay for them. And they were young, and we were all the same age. But why are they freaking doing so much better, and I'm not? And I'm the one that's not. So I wanted to. I'm like, hey, I can't be that guy. Like, oh, it's just Aaron. You know what I mean? Like, I'm bringing their average down. That's like having, the one ugly chick around with 7 beautiful women. You're just like, oh, I'm bringing the average. I was the ugly chick.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, no, I got to do something. So I went back to college. I did like 4 jobs at one time just so I can be able to
Isn't
be with
that
those
wild?
guys. And
It was
just,
so important for you to surround yourself with those guys that you went crazy.
yeah, because I was like, I can't be that one. I can't be the the freaking grenade that people land on. No,
Yeah.
no. It's not gonna be me. So when I surrounded myself,
How old
around
were you
those-
then?
I was 25.
Okay, so you're pretty young.
Yeah. So I was just like, all right, look, I'm all in. I gotta do something. I gotta do something better. And it was because of the people that I was around. I could have been around people that be like, don't worry about it. We're still getting paid. Or, let's just go freaking change oil. Or, those guys
Yeah.
that just want to get by,
So the guys who were hustling and moving and shaking,
Yeah.
that's who you wanted to be around.
Yeah. And these guys are still there. He's high up in Microsoft right now. Another guy owns like 4 lending companies. Like these dudes are still hitting it.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. And you are the company you keep. That's the truth, man.
Oh, I agree with that. And I'm always trying to surround myself with absolute freaking savages. That's because you don't feel like you're doing enough ever.
Right.
Which can be very hard to deal with.
That you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean, that demon can speak loud.
yeah.
You
But
know,
what's
and-
enough? Are you happy?
Well, that's it. There's a balance.
Yeah.
There's always a balance to be struck. And that's why I said, how do you keep the momentum? Because right now, I'm in kind of my off season, if you will. I got one more tournament this weekend, and then it's pretty much off season. So I train hard.
Off season in the sense of no competition.
Yeah, there's no competition. Like
Gotcha.
we're still working out, we're still doing the runs, you know, here and there. But it's off season. So again, top,
Yeah.
bottom.
Yeah.
So once it's because we've said this before, like there's busy seasons of everything,
Right.
And to keep momentum when there is an off season and to come back, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's so easy to do things good once.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do them once.
Yeah.
To have actually, my daughter was asking me last night. It was strange. We were sitting there. We were playing Minecraft, and she asked me. She goes, "How's work going?" Like out of nowhere, she just like struck
11, right?
Yeah, no, she's 10, but she'll be 11 next month. And it was really interesting, and something that I said to her, because this is something that's been happening to me, is I'm having customers come back to me, right? So they're coming back for a second, third, fourth time, and for me that's substantial because now I don't have to.
What an adult question.
Really. Yeah.
An adult question. So was it that she heard it before or she was really genuinely
I
thinking?
think she's genuinely interested.
That's pretty cool.
But my message
That's
to
when it's
her
cool.
was,
Go ahead.
like, I have people coming back to me. I have repeat customers, and I said
Yeah.
that's something this week that I've worked my whole life to have somebody trust me enough to first off buy from me, and then trust me enough even after buying something from me that they're okay with doing it again.
Yeah.
Because they trust me so much that they know I'm not going to mess it up because I've
Yeah.
already done it.
Yeah.
And then I do it again and again. And I said, honey, that's what consistency gets you.
Right.
It gives you the ability to not have to be somewhere but still have an impact.
Right.
Consistency is what makes you great.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of like us meeting
Playing
every
freaking
freaking
Minecraft.
That's where it came to.
Yeah.
But it's like us, because we started this podcast because we wanted to do, like you said, we wanted to keep that motivation, that positive mindset out to the world.
Right.
And we're still here. Like, and it's granted, it hasn't been every week. We've been very consistent in putting out major content, and that's it, bro. We just keep doing it. Like,
most of the time, you just have to outlast the next guy.
It's true.
Most of the time, that's all you really have to do.
Yeah.
You can be mediocre and just outlast the next guy and be great.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to speed the process up, you can be great and outlast the next guy. So being great, to me, is just continuously experiencing new stuff. Because anytime that I find something new, it lights my fire again.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I go through so many hobbies.
Yeah.
You know, because I like I like it.
It's so great that you're saying this. So, like, it was a good and bad when they gave me they gave me like a basket of stuff talking about how much they appreciate me and things like that. Not saying I'm some freaking glory hound or whatever, but it was bad in the sense like, oh no, now I got to do something more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like, okay, so I've set something for these guys to continue to come back and to trust me enough and to give so much gratitude to me, to saying, hey, how appreciative they are.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, what pressure I got now? You know, I gotta get this again. Let's say next year I don't get a basket. You know, now what? I'm like, I really, like, now they put more pressure on me.
How silly is that? But I get it. I 110% get it.
It's like, wow. All right, I hit it now. Mm-hmm. Now what? Now I gotta come back more.
Yeah.
I gotta give more. I gotta give these dudes another day. I gotta give them more training. I gotta make them feel a whole lot better for themselves to keep them moving.
Yeah, but again, they trusted you. They come back, and they keep coming back for a whole year. You know, that's just not typical.
Yeah,
it's hard to trust people. It's hard to give up your evenings and weekends or whatever, you know, to dedicate to yourself in a training atmosphere, and for you to have the ability to, you know, do that consistently for a year. Mm-hmm. You know, because let's be honest, every student needs you to be consistent, so whenever they feel like coming, they can come. Yeah, and you're there.
Yep.
And then, okay, well, I know he'll be there whenever I'm ready.
That's exactly it. All right. So I said this before. I don't care if we sign up to train 2 people or 200 people. We're going to be there. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I think me and Chris, we just talked about it, bro. We're going to be there. I don't care if nobody shows up. We're still going to show up. Like, we're going to be there. You can count. You can count right there on that. To. And but it's the other cool thing they did. They honored my wife as well. They gave my wife a card, and
how thoughtful.
These people
very, very thoughtful.
So they didn't even just give me the appreciation; they gave my family the appreciation. And now because
they know.
And now I'm like, yeah. They said thank you for allowing him to come up here every freaking day to make us better. And again, I was like, goodness, more pressure. You know, now. Let's say my wife doesn't get a card next year. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. But it's still a great feeling. But like I said, it's good and bad, man.
Right.
It's good and bad. It's
now there's an expectation.
Yeah.
That's what I would say about golf. Whenever you try to get good at golf and you actually start getting good at golf, that's whenever you get the most frustrated at golf.
$500 in.
Well, because you have an expectation to do well, and you know you're not going to do well playing golf, because none of us do. So that's whenever you get the most frustrated, is whenever you have an actual expectation.
But you're also realistic too. Like, you know, see, like me, I can't be realistic and say, I'm going to continue on the same mediocre training. That's that thing. No.
Yeah, you got to do more, better.
I got to do more. I got to do better. I got to make them stronger.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the double-edged sword for me, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, because you're always pushing the freaking envelope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once something gets easy, you just do more. And it's, yeah.
One of the things I like to tell people when I actually converse with people about them being downtrodden, right? For one, I say you got to look at the good, and the other thing, there is an end in sight, right? So you're gonna go through this. You're going through the suck right now. There is an end to the suck. It's not gonna continually stay there.
Yeah.
There is an end. What are you gonna do to get to that end? Now, how much better are you going to be?
Careful with that question.
Yeah. Gosh.
Sorry.
How much better are you going to be the next time you fall? And then how much better are you going to be when you teach somebody to get through their hard times? You're going to be better, man. You're going to be better.
Yeah.
You know? And so you're creating experiences of how you get through things to be able to help somebody else. But you got to be there to help somebody else. Do you want to help somebody else?
You gotta be there.
Okay, sure. You gotta be there.
Yeah.
You gotta be there. Not that end game that you talking about. Holy cow.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, that was a weird thing to say.
Mr. Positivity.
Anyhow, I got death on the mind. It was a weird thing. So my grandma passed away this past week.
Oh,
it was
sorry to hear
she's
that.
just like, she's in Florida. I don't really not really close to her or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But she was a part of my life whenever I was younger.
Yeah. You talked about your grandparents being.
Yeah, it was just I don't know. It was a weird thing because, like, typically you get really upset whenever somebody passed away, but it just didn't upset me.
Yeah.
To the point that, like, I wasn't even in tears or anything, and I felt almost disrespectful to her because I wasn't upset. I asked my wife. I said, "Man, like, am I some sort of like cold-hearted prick because I'm not sad?"
Right.
You know, but whenever somebody's out of your life for so long, it's just,
that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a weird experience for me, and then I made that weird joke, and I think it expressed itself in that bad joke. But anyhow, I digress.
Oh, I've had some significant deaths over the time, but I've never one not to feel. I guess it was my grandma. I was kind of the same way, but you know, we were we the closest? No.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if someone that's not my family, say, you know, God forbid something happens to you, like I will be super, super, super hurt. Like I would have a lot of feelings about it, you know. But like you said, for like a grandmother, this is like your blood.
Yeah.
The only thing that I missed about my grandmother, and I've been doing like a real check on my heritage, and if I could have just communicated some things with her to just know a little more about, you know, her life and where we came from, like that's one of the things that I miss, you know.
Yeah, but you only ever miss that whenever you get older.
It's true.
You don't miss that whenever you're younger. Whenever you have the opportunity to actually talk to them in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
But then whenever you get older, you have all these regrets. Like,
man,
I wish I would have known this, because now we can, like, our lives just settle down, and you start to really want to understand intricacies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to dive deeper into things now.
Oh, yeah.
Especially where you're from, you know, but whenever you're younger and you have the opportunity, whenever they're young and spry and they can communicate with you, you just don't.
You worrying about what movie's coming out next, or
that's why I understand why my grandpa would always he would always just I almost saw you today. Like, I'm always in and out of the house, and he's just like, you're always moving.
Yeah, I'm going down a crazy rabbit hole right now. So somebody put me on this quest inadvertently about like the Maltese, Spain, and the Hebrew religion.
Okay.
Right. So there's like 12 tribes of Judah. I know you're not that. You know, in a sense, the Jewish religion.
I'm totally green on this.
So there's 12 tribes of Judah, and they've been sporadic around the world. And what they were actually running from persecution, and they've went up north. They've gone down south. But they found Hebrew practices in Africa, right? And they're saying from the Hebrew practices of Africa, the Ethiopia side, Sierra Leone, these are the people that inhabited the Caribbean.
Okay.
So the natives of the Caribbean before Columbus magically discovered them, right? They're saying that some of their traits, their practices are from the Hebrew.
From Hebrew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so and a lot of people don't think about that part of it.
Yeah.
You know, like the Incas, the Aztecs, the natives of that time. There's some really, really cool history on that. Like the stones that are found in, like, the way they make paint in, like, let's say Mexico. They found the same paintings and the minerals in New York.
How about that?
Like this crazy stuff. Yeah, there's some pretty.
There's
cool.
a book that I want to read. I think it's called The Lost America. It's similar to what you're talking about. Like it's the book is about where civilization started. But what you're saying is, there are certain things are found here that are found over there, and it's like, how did that happen?
Yes.
Well, this book dives into it in a deep, meaningful way. I just haven't got a chance to read it. But the guy who wrote it, he was on a couple podcasts that I listened to, and he sounds like an interesting dude.
It's cool. So even to the point that when Christopher Columbus manuscripts, Christopher Columbus said that when these natives go into battle, they carry the Ark of the Covenant.
What is the Ark of the Covenant?
So when the Israelites were abandoned from, like, they ran from Egypt. That's what they had. The Ark of the Covenant they had so many things in there. That was like their God in the box.
Oh, okay.
Like they had things in there, and they would go and feel the presence of God in that. So this is way back in Egyptian times, and they're still doing it in the Caribbean.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I love hearing about historical
Like
things.
it goes back to the point of you, when as you get older, you start taking a deep dive into stuff, and that's my deep dive right now. Like, I don't know.
Very cool.
I'm going down this rabbit hole, and damn YouTube, goodness gracious, gets me on a tangent.
Oh, they always do.
And I don't even need TV no more. I could just sit there and just this video, what? Oh, okay. And it probably goes like to some of the stuff, like you search something or you see a title, be like, that's cool. Let me go into that, see where that comes up.
Yeah.
Like, so even
you gotta
for
be
crop,
careful. You just gotta be careful with those things.
Yeah, of what information you're getting,
because
how legitimate is this?
Well, not even that. It's just that it goes back to the study that I was talking about a few weeks back, where they, even though that we're not interpreting it right now, it's being interpreted in our head. Like everything we look at, all of the ads we see every single day, all of it has to be digested in our brain somewhere. And there's only so much brain power. So what are you feeding it? Not just food wise, but like the media side. What are you feeding it? And I just want more things that are good for me and my longevity than I want. And I don't want to be naive either.
Right.
I don't want to be to the point where I'm like sunshine and rainbows every day, because that's not reality.
This is true.
So then where do you find the freaking balance? It's like this full-time job that goes on inside my neurotic head.
Yeah.
Like,
it sounds pretty busy.
Open for business. Where we at? About 48 minutes in.
Sounds strong. One thing I want to bring up, talk about how we're impacting lives.
Yes.
So there was a situation, anybody out there, I really want shoppers to beware of what's going on. And these people are getting really, really brazen. And your cat's about to take off a video. But it's really these sex trafficker. People are abducting people out there. Not to be the negative Nancy, but I want people to be situationally aware around things. There's one of my students that was out there at the outlets, and she noticed a van because now she's situationally aware, and there were people following her, and it just felt really hinky. Yeah. So it felt really hinky. So she remembered the van. She remembered some of the things that I said. And it's not even all about kicking and punching, because if she was attacked, she probably would have done something. But she was so forward thinking that she was like, you know what? I don't like the way this looks. She called security and said, hey, walk me to my car. 2 days later, somebody posted on Facebook, hey, this van was sitting there trying to capture people. There was people that were walking around being followed, and it was the picture of the van that she saw. It's crazy, man. There's some real bad demons out there. Don't be the victim out there. Go out there. Just, it doesn't have to be about a kick and a punch, man. It's just about being situationally aware.
Be aware.
Yeah.
Keep your head up. Stay off the phone. If you're walking around out there, stay aware.
'Tis the season. All right. You're gonna be out there shopping. They're gonna try to take you, take your property. Your kids. Absolutely.
Did you see that video that popped? Not to go off on a tangent, but the video popped out. With that lady that stabbed the kid in the face. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Was that real?
That was real.
Unreal.
Yeah. They had pictures of the kid in the hospital.
I saw that. I didn't know if it was doctored or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was just like, how insane do you have to be to stab a child?
The woman was mentally disturbed. Yeah.
Like, well, you almost wonder, like, what kind of psychotic episode were you having to stab a kid in the face?
Right. And tried to go after the other kid. Yeah, I saw that video.
Unreal.
But hey, just be aware.
That's all.
Yeah.
Not to scare everybody, but like you said, it is the season, and it's happened right up the road.
Yep.
So
not that far.
All right, where can they find you at?
All right, GC_ValorPDS. ValorPDS.com if you're looking for any training needs, firearms, self-defense, and anything of that nature.
And you can follow me on Instagram at Ambitious Distractions. Thanks again. Enjoy.
Later.